Have you ever looked at your life and wondered, is this really all there is to it? Is life just an endless treadmill of working, eating, and sleeping that takes you nowhere? That was me a few months after I graduated and got into my first full-time job. So in this video, I'm going to share a three-step system that I like to call the anti-treadmill system that I learned over the years for answering this question, which by the end of the video will hopefully help you live a happier and more fulfilling life as it has done for me. If you're new here, hello, my name's James, I'm a software engineer and entrepreneur, and I'm on a mission to build my best life. On this channel, I take you along on my journey and share the lessons, systems, and habits I've learned over the years to help you do that. The first step of the anti-treadmill system is identifying your purpose in life and your life's roadmap. Essentially, your purpose is the reason you live life for, and the roadmap is what actions you imagine yourself doing throughout your life to achieve that purpose. For example, for a lot of people, their purpose might be to leave a lasting legacy and have a meaningful impact, and accordingly, their life roadmap might be to live a life doing intentional acts and good deeds, which can include things like supporting your family, having a positive impact on the world, giving to charity, or even practicing mindfulness and personal growth, and etc. If we drill further down to see what specific actions you'd need to do to achieve these things, it could include things like working on your health, both physical and mental, working on your personal values, working on your financial income through getting an education and a job or a business, and so on. To identify your purpose and life roadmap, I highly recommend that you actually just take the time to sit down, reflect, and journal about it till you have it figured out and clear. Once you have it identified, that alone already starts to make it clearer that life is not just about eating, sleeping, and working. So, after identifying your purpose and life roadmap, the second step of the anti-treadmill system is to build your perception of progress. This means the ability to feel that you are actually progressing towards achieving something meaningful in your life. To help you understand what I mean, I'll tell you a quick story. When I was at school, the objective was very clear and very measurable: to get the best grades in my subjects, which was measured using assessment methods like exams. In university, it was the same. The objective was to study, to do well in the final exams of my courses, and to get an A at the end. And at the end of the course, I would actually get assessed and be provided a letter grade telling me how well I did against this objective that I had set for myself. So the nice thing about this system is that it serves you the perception of progress on a silver platter. You are given clear objectives, and as you progress through school and university, you are assessed and given grades that indicate the progress you've made on your objectives, so that throughout school and uni, you always feel like you're making progress towards the final grand purpose of graduation. In a similar parallel to life, the purpose is what brings you happiness and joy, not necessarily the small objectives or assessments themselves. The problem is, as soon as you graduate and get into the real world, you'll find that this system or framework of perception of progress completely vanishes, and you're left wondering what you're doing with your life. So the solution I found is exactly that: to build a system that enables you to perceive your progress in life towards achieving your purpose. But this time, it's now on you to actually build that for yourself, instead of it being served to you on a silver platter. So how do you build your perception of progress? Well, to do that, you need two main things: objectives and assessment. Objectives, similar to exams, would be the goals you want to achieve in your life. These objectives would be derived from the purpose and life roadmap you identified earlier in step 1. For example, if your roadmap includes things like working on your physical health, then you could take that area, or you can imagine it as a school subject or course, for example, and define certain goals that help you achieve that. For example, you could set yourself a goal to lose 5 kilograms by the end of the month, or you could set a goal to be able to do 10 push-ups by the end of the month. Once you have these objectives set and written down for each area in your life, you need to assess yourself against these objectives. And this is where the perception of progress starts to feel real. Because when you assess your current level against each objective, it will give you an idea of whether you are moving towards or progressing towards that objective or not. And as a result, whether you are moving towards your purpose. To give you an example of how to do this practically, what I personally like to do is I set myself monthly goals for each area in my life. And then on a weekly basis, every weekend, I would check my progress against those goals, which I like to call as weekly reviews. These weekly reviews reveal a lot to me. They tell me whether I'm on a good pace or not towards achieving the goal by the end of the month, or whether I might need to adjust my goal itself. For example, it might be something unrealistic or unachievable. But most importantly, it reveals to me the progress I am achieving towards that goal and my overall purpose, which helps me stay happy and makes it super clear to me that life is so much more than just eating and working. For example, if I have a goal for my physical health to be able to do 10 push-ups by the end of the month, then every week I might have a sub-goal of being able to do, for example, 2 more push-ups than the previous week. And that would be how I would assess my progress over time. Once you start feeling that fire and that excitement in your heart to achieve those goals, you start appreciating life much more, feeling a lot happier and feeling way more excited to do things outside of work, and that life is not just eating, sleeping, and working anymore. The third step of the anti-treadmill system for building a fulfilling life is tracking your progress. In order to assess your progress against your goals, you need to have the data to support your assessment, meaning that you need to record the progress you achieve anytime you work towards your goal. Going back to the push-ups example, any day I would do push-ups, I would record in my notes how many push-ups I was able to do that day. So by the end of the week, when I come to do my weekly review, I'm able to actually assess my progress. Now, this doesn't have to be any complicated system or multi-tiered knowledge base or anything. It should be just simple and quick enough for you to stick to in order to record your progress regularly. Anything with friction, you will eventually quit using. I personally like to just write down my progress for the day on a journal, on a note-taking app I use on my phone called Obsidian. But as I said, it can be anything that is quick and convenient for you to record your own progress. And there you have it. That's the 3-step system that I found for having a more fulfilling life. Identifying your purpose, then building your perception of progress, and finally tracking your progress. Some final thoughts before I end off. I really want to make it clear that you don't have to have the system completely perfect from the first go. In my own personal experience, I've modified parts of this system continuously over the years to fit my purpose and vision, like changing my progress areas and my objectives and the way I track my progress and so on. You just need something which is good enough to get you going and help you feel more fulfilled. And you can always revise it over time. If you enjoyed this video, you might like to check out my other videos on self-improvement and designing a life that you love. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.